Have a nice time to all. Today you will be introduced to a new concept which is the theory of congruence. It is introduced by Carl Friedrich Gauss and he explained this concept and the notation used for congruence in his work Disquisitiones Arithmeticae. So let us discuss about the concept. Basic properties of congruences. Definition: let n be a fixed positive integer. Two integers a and b are said to be congruent modulo n, symbolized by a congruent to b mod n, if n divides a minus b. That is, a minus b is equal to k into n for some integer k. That is, a minus b is a multiple of n. In that case, we say a is congruent to b mod n. For example, 3 is congruent to 24 mod 7. Because 3 minus 24 equal to negative 21, which is a multiple of 7. So this is equal to minus 3 into 7. So we can say 3 is congruent to 24 mod 7. Another example is 5 is congruent to 2 mod 3. Because 5 minus 2 equal to 3, which is a multiple of 3. It's equal to 1 into 3. Therefore 5 is congruent to 2 mod 3. Another example, negative 31 is congruent to 11 mod 7 because minus 31 minus 11 equal to minus 42, which is a multiple of 7. So this is negative 6 into 7. So here minus 31 is congruent to 11 mod 7. Likewise, a congruent to b mod n means that a minus b is a multiple of n. Now, given an integer a, using division algorithm, there exists integers q and r satisfying the relation a equal to qn plus r, where the remainder r lies between 0 and n, 0 less than or equal to r, strictly less than n. Here, by the definition of congruence, we may write a is congruent to r mod n, because from here a minus r equal to q into n, which is a multiple of n. Therefore, a is congruent to r mod n. Actually, when a is congruent to r mod n, this may read as when a is divided by n, the remainder is r. That is what has happened here. When we divided a by n, the least remainder is r. Likewise, a congruent to r mod n means that when we divide a by the integer n, the remainder is r according to division algorithm. So what are the remainders possible when an integer a is divided by n? The only possible remainders are 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. n minus 1. Since 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. n minus 1 are the possible remainders when a is divided by an integer n, these integers are called a set of least non-negative residues modulo n. When any integer a is divided by the integer n, the only possible non-negative remainders are these integers. So they are called least non-negative residues modulo n. In general, a collection of n integers a1, a2, etc. an is said to form a complete set of residues modulo n if every integer capital N is congruent modulo n to one and only one of the ak. Or in other words, a1, a2, etc. an are congruent modulo n to 0, 1, 2, etc. n minus 1 taken in some order. Let me explain this concept using an example. Consider this set of integers: negative 12, negative 4, 11, 13, 22, 82 and 91. Let us check what are the remainders obtained when these integers are divided by 7. Actually, minus 12 is congruent to 2 mod 7. Because negative 12 minus 2 is negative 14, which is a multiple of 7. Similarly, minus 4 is congruent to 3 mod 7 because minus 4 minus 3 is minus 7, which is a multiple of 7. 11 minus 4 is 7, multiple of 7. 13 minus 6, multiple of 7. 22 minus 1 is 21, which is a multiple of 7, etc. And here we may see that each of these integers are congruent modulo 7 to exactly one of the integers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So we may say that this set of integers forms a complete set of residues modulo n. because these integers are congruent modulo 7 to exactly one of the integers in 0, 1, 2, etc. 6. Actually, these are the integers. 0 to 6 are the integers we obtained when we divide any integer by 7. These are the possible remainders. So, this set of integers gives exactly the remainder 0, 1, 2, etc. 6 in some order when divided by 7. Therefore, these integers are called a complete set of residues modulo 7. Here, you may note that if this set forms a complete set of residues modulo 7, and if we take any integer capital N, say n equal to 10, then we may see that this integer is congruent to exactly one of the integers in this collection. It is demonstrated here, and you may verify that 10 is congruent only to negative 4 in this collection. And actually, you know, when 10 is divided by 7, the remainder is 3. Therefore, 10 is congruent to 3 mod 7, and this 3 is congruent to negative 4 mod 7. Later we will study a result that if A congruent to B mod n and B is congruent to C mod n, then this implies A is congruent to C mod n. That is what happened here. Here 10 is congruent to 3 mod 7, and that 3 is congruent to minus 4 mod 7. Therefore, 10 is congruent to minus 4 mod 7. Likewise, if you take any integer, say n equal to 15, you have to check 15 congruent to which integer mod 7. Easily we can find an integer suitable here from the list of least non-negative residues mod 7. Least non-negative residues mod 7 are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What's the remainder obtained when 15 is divided by 7? It is 1. So we can say here 15 is congruent to 1 mod 7. And here we will check that 1 is congruent to which integer in this collection. Here 1 is congruent to 22 mod 7. So we can conclude that this 15 is congruent to 22 mod 7. Likewise, if we take any integer capital N, it is congruent to exactly one of the integers in this collection. That is our actual definition of a complete set of residues modulo 7. A collection n of integers a1, a2, etc. n is said to form a complete set of residues if every integer n is congruent modulo n to one and only one of the ak. And this happens when these integers are congruent modulo n to 0, 1, 2, etc. n minus 1 taken in some order. Is the set of integers 2, 11, 21, 13, 10 form a complete set of residues modulo 5? Let us check. Actually, 2 is congruent to 2 mod 5 because 2 minus 2 equal to 0, which can be considered as a multiple of 5. Now 11 is congruent to 1 mod 5 because 11 minus 1 is 10, which is a multiple of 5. 21 congruent to again 1 mod 5 because 21 minus 1 is 20, multiple of 5. 13 is congruent to 3 mod 5 and 10 is congruent to 0 mod 5. Here we may see that this set of integers, these 5 integers are congruent modulo 5 to the integers 2, 1, 1, 3, 0. Neither of these integers are congruent to 4 mod 5. Therefore, this set of integers never form a complete set of residues modulo 5. If they form a complete set of residues, they may be congruent to exactly one of these integers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 in some order. Here that is not the case. Here both the integers 11 and 21 are congruent to the same integer 1, and here 4 never appears. So we can conclude that this set of integers never form a complete set of residues modulo 5. Now we have a theorem. For arbitrary integers a and b, a congruent to b mod n if and only if a and b leave same non-negative remainder when divided by n. So let us prove the theorem. First, suppose that a congruent to b mod n, so that we may write a equal to b plus a multiple of n. That is, when we divide a by n, the remainder is b. So a is equal to a multiple of n plus the remainder, that is b. Here k is some integer. Now let r be the remainder obtained when the integer b is divided by n. so that we may write B is equal to a multiple of n plus r. Now from equation 1 we may write A equal to B plus Kn, that's equal to, just substitute for B, we have Qn plus r plus K into n. So that's equal to, combining the terms with n, we have Q plus K into n plus r. So this means that A equal to a multiple of n plus r. Or in other words, when we divide A by n, the remainder will be r. So we may conclude that A and B leaves same remainders when divided by n. Hence we proved the necessary part of the theorem, that is, if A congruent to B mod n, then A and B leaves same remainders when divided by n. Conversely, we have to suppose that A and B leave same remainders when divided by n, and we have to show that A is congruent to B mod n. So conversely, suppose that A and B leave same remainder r when divided by n. So we may write A is equal to some q1 into n plus r, that is a multiple of n plus r. Also B equal to another multiple of n, that is q2 n plus r. A and B leaves the same remainder r here. Now we consider A minus B. This is equal to q1n plus r minus of q2n plus r. This is equal to q1 minus q2 into n, r minus r cancels. So what happens? Here A minus B becomes a multiple of n. That is, when we divide A minus B by n, the remainder becomes 0. In other words, A is congruent to B mod n. By definition of congruence, A congruent to B mod n if and only if A minus B is a multiple of n. Therefore, if A and B leave same remainder r when divided by n, then we can show that A is congruent to B mod n. Hence, we proved the necessary and sufficient parts of the theorem. Now, let us apply this theorem. Consider the integers 56 and 11. When divided by 9, 56 leaves the remainder 2. And we can write 56 is congruent to 2 mod 9, because 56 minus 2 is 54, which is a multiple of 9. And 11 also, when divided by 9, leaves the same remainder 2. That is, 11 is also congruent to 2 mod 9. So applying this theorem, we may say that these two integers leave same remainder when divided by 9. Therefore, the theorem implies that 56 is congruent to 11 mod 9. We may check 56 minus 11 is actually 45, which is a multiple of 9. Therefore, if two integers leaves the same remainder when divided by an integer n, then that integers will be congruent modulo n. Another example, consider the integers negative 31 and 11. And we consider n as 7. We have minus 31 equal to minus 5 into 7 plus 4 by division algorithm, and also 11 equal to 1 into 7 plus 4, again by division algorithm. So when these integers minus 31 and 11 when divided by 7 leaves the remainder 4. Since the remainders are same, we may conclude that minus 31 is congruent to 11 mod 7. Here minus 31 minus 11 equal to minus 42, which is a multiple of 7. So clearly minus 31 is congruent to 11 mod 7. So this was the result we proved now. Now let us prove some basic properties of congruence relation. Let n greater than b be fixed and a, b, c, d be arbitrary integers. Then we have to prove each of these results. Let us prove the results one by one. First result says that A congruent to A mod n. To show that A congruent to A mod n, we have to consider A minus A. And we have to show that this is a multiple of n. A minus A equal to 0. We can consider it as a multiple of n. Therefore, we can conclude that A is congruent to A mod n. Now, second result says that if A congruent to B mod n, then B congruent to A mod n. So, we assume that A is congruent to B mod n. By definition of congruence, we may write A minus B equal to some multiple of n that is a minus b equal to k into n, where k is an integer. Now we have to show that b congruents to a mod n. So we consider b minus a. Now b minus a equal to minus kn. So this is of the form minus k into n. Again an integer into n. So this implies that b congruent to a mod n. Now let us go to the next result. Here it is given that a congruent to b mod n and b congruent to c mod n, and we have to show that a congruent to c mod n. So we assume that a is congruent to b mod n and b is congruent to c mod n. So we can write a minus b equal to a multiple of n. So let a minus b equal to some h into n, where h is an integer. And also b minus c is a multiple of n. So let b minus c equal to some k into n. Here h comma k are integers. We have to show that a congruent to c mod n. So we have to consider a minus c. Here a minus c equal to a minus b plus b minus c. And this equal to h into n plus k into n, or we may write h plus k into n. So we can see that this a minus b is a multiple of n. So this implies that a congruent to c mod n. So if a congruent to b mod n and b congruent to c mod n, then a congruent to c mod n. Next result, if a congruent to b mod n and c congruent to d mod n, then a plus c congruent to b plus d mod n, and a into c congruent to b into d mod n. So let us prove the result. So we assume that a congruent to b mod n and c congruent to d mod n. So we may write a minus b is a multiple of n, that is a minus b equal to some k1 into n, and c minus d is also a multiple of n. Let c minus d equal to k2 into n, where k1 comma k2 are integers. Here first we have to show that a plus c congruent to b plus d mod n. So that we may consider a plus c minus of b plus d, and we have to show that it is a multiple of n. So consider a plus c minus of b plus d. And this can be written as a minus b plus c minus d. And here we have a minus b equal to k1n and c minus d equal to k2n. Therefore this is k1n plus k2n here, or this equal to k1 plus k2 into n. So what we get is a plus c minus of b plus d is a multiple of n. So this implies that a plus c congruent to b plus d mod n. Similarly, we have to show that a into c congruent to b into d mod n. So here we consider AC minus BD, and here we had to show that it is a multiple of n. But here the direct proof is not possible, so we consider AC first. AC equal to B plus K1n into D plus K2n. Because from here A minus B equal to K1n means that A equal to B plus K1n and C equal to D plus K2n. That is what we written here. So by expanding we can write BD plus B into K2n plus K1n into D plus K1 K2n square, or this equal to BD plus BK2 plus K1D plus K1 K2n into n. So that we may take the common factor n outside from all these terms. So what we get is AC equal to BD plus a multiple of n. Therefore AC minus BD is a multiple of n, which implies that AC is congruent to BD mod n. Hence, if A congruent to B mod n and C congruent to D mod n, then A plus C is congruent to B plus D mod n, and A into C is congruent to B into D mod n. Next result is, if A congruent to B mod n, then A plus C congruent to B plus C mod n. and A into C congruent to B into C mod n. Actually, this result is a special case of the result D, which we have proved here. Because here we have given A congruent to B mod n. And the first result A, it is given that A congruent to A mod n for any integer A. So we can write C is congruent to C mod n. Now we can use the result which we have proved just before. That is, here there are two congruences, A congruent to B mod n and C congruent to D mod n. Then A plus C congruent to B plus D mod n and A into C congruent to B into D mod n. Likewise, here A congruent to B mod n and C congruent to C mod n, which implies that A plus C congruent to B plus C mod n, and also A into C congruent to B into C mod n. So this result is a special case of the result which we have proved before. Now we have to prove the last result. If A congruent to B mod n, then A raised to k congruent to B raised to k mod n for any positive integer k. Here we will prove the result using mathematical induction. The result trivially holds for k equal to 1, because the statement becomes if A congruent to B mod n, then A congruent to B mod n. So it is trivially true. Now we assume that the result is true for some fixed integer k. That is, if A congruent to B mod n, then A raised to k congruent to B raised to k mod n. And we will prove the case for k plus 1. Here we have two congruences, A congruent to B mod n and A raised to k congruent to B raised to k mod n. By result D, we may say that A into A raised to k is congruent to B into B raised to k mod n. That is, A raised to k plus 1 congruent to B raised to k plus 1 mod n. So if the result is true for k, the result is true for k plus 1 also. And we have showed that the result is true for k equal to 1. Therefore, by mathematical induction, we may conclude that the result is true for any integer k. So these are some basic properties of congruence relations.